Hey guys, welcome back to Unit 8 Day 2 Notes. We're going to pick up with number 7 here. The first thing that I want to do is verify that these are in standard form, which it is. And now I'm going to group my terms together. So, what I want to do first is put my two largest in a group, so 8r cubed minus 7r squared. And before I go to my two smallest terms, we have to remember that we always have to have a plus sign between my two groups. So since there's not a plus sign already there, I'm just going to add one in and group my lower two terms, which is negative 40r plus 35. Remember, when you have a plus sign between two parentheses, it's not going to change any of the terms behind it. So it's okay just to throw it in there. Now we're going to take a GCF from each group. My first GCF is r squared. That leaves me with 8r minus 7. And my second GCF is going to be negative 5. And that's going to leave me with 8r minus 7. You may wonder why I pulled out a negative 5. Well, I chose a negative because my leading term of my second group was negative. So to make our funny GCFs match, we'll have to pull out a negative number here. Now I can pull out my funny GCF, which is 8r minus 7. And that leaves me with r squared minus 5. Moving on to number 8, we're going to go ahead and group each set of terms. We can go ahead and put parentheses in here without rewriting it because there's already going to be a plus sign in between my two sets of groups. Now I will take my GCF. My first GCF is x squared. That leaves me with 7x plus 5. And my second GCF looks a little bit more difficult to be able to find. So what I'm going to do is look and see how many times 7 goes into 56. 7 goes into 56 8 times. And how many times 5 goes into 40? 5 also goes into 40 8 times. So by seeing that, we know that my GCF is 8, and that will leave me with 7x plus 5. My funny GCF is going to be 7x plus 5. And what's left over is x squared plus 8 for my final answer. Moving on to number 9, we're going to go ahead and group both of these terms. And take the GCF from my first group, which is going to be 4n squared. 4 divides into both 28 and 12, and the highest amount of n's that both of them share is 2, which gives me n squared. This is going to leave me with 7n minus 3. If you can see the GCF from the next grouping, you can go ahead and pull it out, or you can use the same method that I used previously, looking to see how many times 7 goes into 35, which is 5, and how many times negative 3 goes into negative 15, which is also 5, which verifies that my GCF is going to be 5, and that leaves me with 7n minus 5. The funny GCF is 7n minus, it's supposed to be 7n minus 3. Sorry about that. So 7n minus 3, and then 4n squared plus 5. Moving on to number 10, we're going to group my highest and lowest terms together. However, looking ahead, I can see that there's going to be a minus sign in front of my third term. So I'm going to rewrite this one instead of just plugging in parentheses. So r cubed plus r squared plus negative 5r minus 5. The GCF of my first group is r squared, which leaves me with r plus 1. And remember, taking the GCF of the second group, since my leading term is negative, I'm going to take a negative GCF. So I'm going to pull out a negative 5, and that leaves me with r minus 1. My final answer is r plus 1 and r squared minus 5. Moving on to number 11, we're going to group the first two terms together. Put a plus sign in between and group the last terms together. We'll take the GCF from my first group, which is 7m squared, to leave me with 5m minus 2. And then take a GCF from my second group, which will be a negative number, and it'll be negative 2, to leave me with 5m minus 2. My funny GCF is 5m minus 2, and it leaves me with 7m squared minus 2 for my final answer. Pause the video now to try number 12, 13, and 14 on your own. These are our final problems. Alright, for number 12, we'll group, take the GCF, which is going to be 3p squared. That leaves me with 4p plus 7. And my GCF of my second group is just 1, leaving me with 4p plus 7. My funny GCF is 4p plus 7, and that leaves me with 3p squared plus 1. Number 13, we're going to have to regroup these. Put a plus sign in the middle. And now take our GCFs. My first GCF is 2n squared. And my second GCF is going to be negative 1. Again, I did this because my leading term of my group is negative, so I'm going to pull out a negative 1 to change my leading term to positive. That is going to leave me with 7n minus 5, and then 2n squared minus 1. Last but not least, number 14, we're going to group and pull out a GCF. That leaves me with 3r minus 1. GCF of my second group is 3, leaving me with 3r minus 1. And my final answer, 3r minus 1, 2r squared plus 3. There you go.